How would the three of you coaches come together as a group? Because obviously, two, you and John were there right off the bat, and another one was added later on.
Yeah, so Ken Scott coached with us a few years back there as an assistant with Curtis, so I had a personal relationship with him before. Tremendous guy, comes from a teacher's background, very good at working with younger students and that in his previous job. It's nice when the players recognize the different personalities that are in place. He says, a couple of them say that they've never had three coaches that are three different personalities on the same bench. Some are just yellers, some are quiet guys, whatever it is. The three of us work off each other so well. And I think in terms of that, it feeds into the players, and they're better for it. They maybe hear my voice a little bit louder sometimes, as does everyone else. John has that sense of calm, and Ken is constantly drawing up different ideas on the bench, line combinations, what the other team's doing. We feed off each other extremely well. It keeps the relationship at practice light, and our end goal of winning games comes to an easier conclusion when everyone's having a good time about it.
One of the things I've written down, you're an emotional guy on the bench.
Yeah.
How do you keep those emotions in check so the kids don't take, that negative approach on the ice? Because obviously you're reacting to what you're seeing as a coach on the ice. How do you balance that out so the kids don't?
For sure. I think one thing is I always have John and Kenny there to maybe say, hey, it's time to calm down a bit. But I think a little bit of that too is the players sometimes feed off that energy in a positive manner. And if I'm on them and voicing how great they're playing and whatnot, or I'm being demanding of their play, they're going to hold themselves to a higher accountability level. And sometimes when you do get too hot, you need to take a second and breathe it out. We preach that with our players about never too high, never too low. I think the same thing has to be said for myself. If I'm doing it the same way and I'm always running hot, how are my players going to execute and do it the way we want to preach it if I'm not doing it? So sometimes the emotion levels get a little high. I have to still understand that I'm part of a staff that it can't just be one guy all the time barking. It's got to be the whole crew working together in unison, right? So some games I'm a little bit hot, but I think the players feed off that in a positive manner more than a negative.
Let's shift gears now to this year's team, and obviously it's a different type of team, and we'll touch base on the RBC issue later on in the interview, but this year it's a different type of team by the fact that there's a lot of overage kids here, and brought in for a specific reason for that RBC Cup. How is it hard to coach the team this year as more of a group of overage kids rather than a mixture of young and old, middle-aged kids?
Yeah, it's a little bit different because in the past here we have been a younger team, and it's been one of those ones where you grow from the bottom and build your players up, and having the expectations of being one of the oldest and best teams in the country, you carry that a lot, and our team handles that extremely well. I think the one thing you get with a lot of 20-year-old players is a maturity level that you wouldn't get in young players. Now that grows as over time, but those 20-year-olds have it built in right from the get-go. We have a tremendous group of overage players. There's not a lot of egos in there in terms of I'm not getting my ice time, I'm going to be disgruntled about it. That's a great group in there. And we reward them in ice time, specialty teams, letting them have their little biscuit at practice, whatnot. I can't say enough about the older players on this team and how they've bought into a team mentality. And I think it's been reflective on the ice too. We do have a couple young players that they almost are the bigger brother to them too, and they treat them extremely well, and they treat them as one of the guys. You hear so many stories sometimes about the team being separated. 20-year-old guys, rest of the kids all separated by themselves. It's not the case in that room. There's a good mix of youth and experience, and we feel extremely confident about the group we put out there every night, even if sometimes right now we're going through a bit of a tough stage with the lineup and being dinged up, but the guys we put out there every night we have full confidence in, and they know that they need to execute at a high level, and we expect them to do it.
How are you guys, you and John and the rest of the organization, keeping these guys motivated and say, you know what, guys, we don't want to go to this tournament just because we're hosting it here in Cobourg. We want to be there because we won our side, and the second place team that we beat is going with us. Yeah.
No, I think it's a very tough goal to push on these players. Fortunately, we play in the East Division, so there's no off nights. Trenton, tremendous team. Wellington Dukes have handed us 2 losses this year. That's a great squad. Kingston, Whippy. These guys push it on you every night. I think the biggest thing with this older veteran group is they do know what the end game is. They know that we want to be one of the best teams of that tournament at the end of the year. But there is a drive inside each guy that they want to be perfect every night. We do tons of video. We push them in practice. I think if, as a high-end hockey player, if you want to be the very best you can be, there are no off nights. And there's a lot of self-motivating in that dressing room. Some nights you end up on the short end of the stick, as we were last game, but the fire inside those guys and the fire inside us as a staff, we're back at it. But they carry a lot of weight in that room and pushing each other to be better every night. There are no off nights in the East Division, so as I said, these guys got to make sure that they're ready to go every night, and I think we try and do a good job of pushing them on that in practice and holding them accountable at every standard.